I hope you enjoyed my video breakdown yesterday doing a deep dive to Yaira. This is going to be video number 2, so I'm going to jump right into it so we can get back to what's going on. If you remember where we left off last time, Yaira has now run into someone with the same powers as her, same power signature. And she actually tried to kill Stephanya. Like she literally tried to kill her. Now, at first, when I read through this, it didn't dawn on me, and I kind of wonder what's going on with Yaira. Did she have an inclination of where these powers came from? Because she asked Stephanya, where did you get these powers? Like she's trying to figure out what's going on. I think deep down inside, Yaira did know, but she's kind of maybe in denial. We'll see. So she asked Stephanya if she wanted to die in the last scene because now you have Yanessa, Yantoni, and Magus Numite show up. For some reason, I always want to say Magnus Numite. It's Magus Numite. I have to keep telling myself that. So Stephanya says, I'm not dying tonight. And Yaira says, then take cover while the grown-ups talk. So now it seems like, I guess this is Yanessa talking to Yaira, says, Defiant Sal, how dare you ignore us? Yanessa, Yantoni, I would have been happy never to see you again. Magus Numite, it's actually good to see you, but sad to see who you've chose to ally yourself with these days. You flatter me with your humble pursuit. What a pleasure it is to be here for your funeral. Yaira's trying to hand out death certificates. I don't know if you got the memo yet. Yaira's not playing around. She is not a team player. I do not get the impression that Yaira's trying to play well with anyone. She just wants everyone to come to a swift end that gets in her way for any reason whatsoever. So Yaira says, you will regret coming after me. And then Yantoni says, watch your tongue, Yaira. You have a list of crimes to answer to. It would not be wise to add to them. So, they're coming at her. And clearly, I get from the discourse that they are royalty in the realm that they're from. And Yaira is not rendering the respect due. She doesn't strike me as one to really concern herself with rendering respect. You will acquiesce to her or she will move you out the way. Yaira is like that immovable force. So she says, you have no authority over me. Not here, not anywhere, not anymore. So Yanessa responds and says, you think the cold will stop us? How long have you been away? It is refreshing to the touch on this overheated, barely inhabitable rock. So clearly, you kind of get some clues in some of this dialogue. So clearly, wherever they're from, it must be much colder than Earth. And they're also in Texas, which doesn't help. And then Yantoni says, "You want the cold? You want the cold, Yaira? You can have it all." And whatever she tried to do with her coal, they sent it right back at her and flung her into this truck like a flea. These are powerful people. And there's 3 of them coming to get Yaira. Now, this is what I'm thinking. I'm sure in their realm, they have mercenaries that they could have sent out to come get Yaira. Clearly, Yaira is so powerful that they're like, nah, we can't just send anybody to go get her. We have to send the heavy hitters. We got to send the big dogs. So Yaira says, this is not good. I know them. They won't stop until they take me back, and they'll do anything to achieve their mission. So they're not playing around, and she knows they're not playing around. So Stephanya, in the mix of all that going on, she's trying to get out of Dodge. She's trying to get out of there. So she gets in this garage, Jerry rigs this car, and she's like, come on, get me to blank out of here. And then Magus Numite shows up as she's in the car, and you can tell she looks terrified. And he says, leaving so soon? unclean one, abomination. Yaira shows up and says, who are you calling an abomination? Come with me. And then Stephanya says, you're not taking me anywhere. Let me go. She doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. She has no idea. Now, maybe if she had command of her powers at this moment, then these three would have a problem on their hands because they'd have two Yairas to deal with. That'd be a big problem. You have really done it now. You wretched recalcitrant, a word you don't hear often. My youngest son always says that word, so I'm very familiar with it. So now Yanessa says to Yaira, that thing is a defiance of natural law. So they know what Stephanya is a result of. So, which makes me wonder when Yaira was first asking her, where did you get these powers? If like deep down inside she knew, but she was like in denial, or maybe this is the whole reason Yaira is in Florist Park in the first place. And maybe she's trying to figure out, what does Stephanya know exactly? So many threads, man, so many threads. And so Yanessa says, it is to be mercifully terminated, talking about Stephanya, of its pitiful existence. And you, Yaira, must come back with us to face judgment. And then you see Yantoni says, there is no escape. There's no escape. This is the end of the line. Yaira says, you want her? You're going to have to go through me. And you see Yantoni coming at her says, you're such a barbarian, Yaira. But if you wish to behave as a brute, then we'll see you beg for mercy. And Magus Numite says, it looks like you won't be going through anything. So now Yantoni goes to give Yaira a swift kick in the face. And he says, we could have taken you peacefully. Why must you resist everything? You know Yaira can't do anything peacefully. And so Yanessa comes out the blue to give Yaira a swift jump kick. Like this crazy. Like they are really, when you think about this, it's taking three of them just to deal with Yaira, and they're not doing it easily. So this tells me Yaira is a big deal. She is a big deal. You must have forgotten your etiquette here on this strange world you've been hiding all these years. Let me remind you what happens to those who forget their place. Now kneel. So clearly there's a hierarchy, and Yaira's at the lower end of this hierarchy, and Yanessa and Yantoni appear to be royalty. Now Magus Numite, he's something else. Sorcerer, evil dude. I don't really know his deal just yet. So now Yanessa says, you see Yaira wiping off blood and she's laughing. And Yanessa says, what's so funny? Do you enjoy the taste of your own blood? And Yaira says, to think how far three of you came just to fail now. Truly laughable. You've already been outwitted by a child, and I'll be the next to escape. So Yaira was, kind of stalling, doing her thing, doing just enough so that Stephanya can escape. So now Yantoni says, Yaira, you distracted us on purpose. You will pay. And Magnus Numite says, let her run. Makes the meat sweeter. I never forget my prey. Once I've seen them, she will be mine. So Magus Numite appears to be some kind of tracker, hunter, mercenary. So he is a merc. They brought a merc with them. Things are getting interesting. And then as Stephanya is driving away, Magus Numite says, you'll not escape. You're no match for all of us. And then Yaira says, perhaps you are together stronger than me, but we shall see who is faster. So Yaira's got some speed on her, and then you transition to AlphaCore, and Brian Solari, he's all over this. And clearly they have some kind of satellite. Now I wonder, this is what I wonder. where AlphaCore, like you find a little bit about AlphaCore in, well, not a little bit, a lot about AlphaCore in AlphaCore #1 and this flying station that they have and the tech. But I wonder where the money for a lot of this stuff comes from. And I wonder how much of this tech actually comes from Gooding. Man, everything in the Ripperverse is interconnected, and I love it. So Brian Solari says, there you are. And Ingrid says, that's Yaira. But who's with her? There's 3 with her energy signature. With her energy signature output detected. And 1 other unknown. So she's saying that there's 4 people altogether, 3 with her energy signature and 1 unknown. My guess is the 3 with her energy signature include Stephanya, Yanessa, and Yantoni, and then the other being Magus Numite. No, there were 4. The other one got away. Their power levels are unprecedented. Do we engage? No, not with them. I have a feeling if we get the one that escaped, we won't have to chase after Yaira. She'll come right to us. Yo, I gotta give it to Brian Solari. He's thinking strategically. And I think he probably understands if we go after Yaira and these other 2, yeah, these people don't look like they're playing around. I don't think this will be a good idea at all. We probably need to hold off and not really try to tackle these people right now. How are you liking the tour? This is Yaira talking to Yanessa and Yantoni as they chase her while she's flying away. I'm so glad you managed to both keep up at your old age. I bet it's been a long time since anyone's worked you this hard. Man, she is ragging them, boys. This may not work in her favor. And Magus Numite, this is your only warning. Don't die here with Yanessa and Yantoni. Yo, she ain't playing around. Like I said, she's coming to kill. She is coming to kill. So this is where you kind of get to see Magus Numite in his grandeur and some of his power. And he says, only you will die here, Yaira. To think you could have seen home one last time. And so it looks like he reaches down into the dirt and a hand of dirt comes up to grab her. So he has some kind of reality manipulation, maybe. Again, haven't read the Dokuman card, so this is just me guessing. Maybe he can manipulate elements, like physical elements. No, we'll see. And Yaira says, this is my home. And so you see Yanessa in the background and she says, how quaint. It is fitting then that you shall remain here. Disgusting you'd prefer this place to your true home. This isn't just anywhere. This is Texas. You know that had to be put in there. Yaira is bought into Texas. I like this. Yaira is officially a Texan. Hey, Ripperverse, you need a poster with Yaira and a Texas t-shirt. Or maybe a t-shirt with Yaira on it in a Texas t-shirt. That'd actually be dope. I might actually buy that one. So Yanessa says, Texas, what a stupid name. And so Yaira says, I'm going to have to stop you right there, Ness. You don't blinking mess with Texas. Yo, it's funny. It's funny that they put this in here, but the thing that makes it more funny is this is act like if you've never lived in Texas. I lived in San Antonio for a year. If you have never lived in Texas and you don't understand Texas pride, and I've said this before, I'm from Brooklyn. People from Brooklyn, we are a proud people. Texas pride is different. And so for them to put this in this book this way, I like it. So you see Yaira, she got them close to this. It looks like a oil well, and she lights a match. And yo, Yaira doesn't care about anything. She doesn't. And I think at some point in the book, they're probably going to get her to the point where it's like, hey, you can't just be doing whatever you want. You can't just be destroying stuff. You're destroying stuff for innocent people. So she threw this lighter into this oil well and it blew up. She is trying to kill these people. And you see the faces of Yantoni, Yanessa, and Magus Numite. They were not expecting this. Good explosion, good art, and I love the colors on that page. Those colors were really good. So now we transition to this older woman in this what looks like a nursing home. And so she is watching the news. And the news anchor says, this is the 8th hour that the firefighters have been working to control the flames. There is currently no word on the whereabouts of Yaira or her companions. So coincidentally, I think Yaira with her powers may be the only one that could actually put this flame out, or Gooding with some of his tech. He is a very smart dude, so I'm sure if there's anyone who could figure out how to put this fire out, Gooding is that person. So the news anchor goes on to say, no comment from Brian Solari on when we can expect the team to be brought to justice, although some are saying the holdup is because of Ingrid Valdez not living up to Jeremiah Braxwell's recommendations as AlphaCore's newest member. So Braxwell recommended her, and people are kind of giving her flack. But really, if you read AlphaCore, you see the merits of why adding Ingrid was definitely a good idea. Ingrid is a thinker, and you always need somebody that's thinking and researching and looking beyond the immediate moment. And it seems like Ingrid is that person, along with having powers. Okay, so it says there's a lady, looks like someone in a nursing home talking with this older lady. And she says, I need Q-tips. I'm out of them. $20 for a pack of Q-tips? Yo, man, I guess these nursing homes is like prison. And now you see Sally Rodell walk up into this place. And this is her thinking, obviously, an unusually short life, one of humanity's greatest jokes. Of course, because she's been living for thousands of years. Every civilization has different rituals with their people as they age. As they die, the poor are forgotten, whereas the rich build up almost godlike lore. And she says, hello, Yaira, it's you. So this woman knows who she is. So clearly there's some kind of relationship. So anyway, this really gets to the point where you realize Yaira she isn't so random in the things she does and the places she goes. And there's a reason she's here, and she knows more than you think she knows. You're mistaken, old woman. Yeah, this old woman, she's not mistaken at all. She says, my name is Carmen Martinez, but you know that, don't you? El Dios Femino. So, femenino. So somebody who speaks Spanish has to tell me what that means. I'll look it up later. So this old woman, she knows what's going on. But Yaira also knew to come here. Like, there's so many things happening that you kind of start piecing things together. And I like this element of comics. I don't need to be told everything. I do want to do some guesswork, because that's what makes the whole, idea of reading a comic, reading through these books so enjoyable. My great grandmother passed down the story about a goddess who fell from heaven to earth. So Yaira says, do you know what happened to the goddess? So she now whispers into Yaira's ear. After that, the goddess felt more pain than she had ever experienced in her tortured existence. She vowed to never feel that kind of pain again. So you kind of get you're getting into why Yaira is the way she is. You're kind of getting to the heart of what makes Yaira like so angry all the time, because that's what it seems like. It seems like as Sally Rodell, she seems kind of standoffish, like she's as friendly as she needs to be, but as Yaira, it's just straight anger and rage at all times. So the lady says, these things, where did you get them? And Yaira says, oh, here and there. Please make yourself comfortable. So she got this lady and brought the lady to her house, right? Because she's trying to protect her. She understands what's about to happen. She understands that people are going to link Stephanya to this, who is, if you don't know, this is her abuela, her grandmother. So they're going to link Stephanya to her and then probably trace her down. So Yaira is trying to get ahead of all of this, which again proves that Yaira knows more than she's letting on. But she's also, it seems like she's also trying to figure out, well, what do these people know? So she's not offering up information. She's kind of playing coy, like she doesn't know. And let me see what they know and what's going on. But again, Yaira's not here randomly. All of this is on purpose. So Miss what's her name, Martinez, says, with new comic books especially, it always takes me a while to get these names down. Like I'll have to read through this book several times before I remember there's some names I do remember because they're standout characters, but their names is just like, yeah, I forgot that name already. So Yaira says, or Miss Martinez says, I know who you are. I know what you want. You then make this easier for me. So Yaira's like, okay, so let's make things easy. So she says, please, Yaira, don't let anything happen to Stephanya. You have my protection. You will stay here and we will figure out a situation with more dignity for you when you two are reunited. Tell me, has she ever displayed these powers before? And Miss Martinez says, what? Ay, Dios míos. Powers? Please, no. You have to save her. So clearly there's been a lore passed down from generation to generation about Yaira, about powers, and you're starting to see, like I said, I believe there are some excepts, not all. And there's like different things going on in the Rippaverse. There's people from other realms. There's people that probably got powers as the result of experiments, kind of like we see in Gooding. And there's some that probably got their powers naturally as descendants from people from other realms that intermingled and intermixed with humans on Earth. So Yaira says, you have my word that she will be safe. There is so much going on in this book. You have no idea. So now we have Stephanya shows back up to her crew, see what's going on. And so now they're talking to her and they say, and one of them says, we can hit the bank, the casino, the police station, the sky's the limit with Stephanya being supercharged. I'm not really sure how it all works yet. So Stephanya's like, I don't even know how these things work. And so one of them, seems like he's the leader, says, it's just like Yaira. You just got to channel those ice hurricanes. Ice hurricanes, that's kind of funny. There you go. There you go. So she's trying to channel her powers. And so he now says, they killed Marcus. They killed Julio. You have to make them pay with their lives, chica. So he says, make them bleed, make them suffer. Man, these dudes are really trying to egg her on. And you see her powers are activating. She's getting kind of aggravated. And one of them says, in their lives, give their families something to cry about. Man, these dudes are ruthless. We hit them tonight. You hit them so hard, they never forget. And they never blanking with us again. That's what he wants to do, but I don't think things are going to work out quite how he thinks. So they're walking out, and Stephanya says, I won't let them blank with us. It's just that Yaira lady is still out there with those other guys. Maybe we should lay low. So she's smart. She's like, yo, I don't know if we really want to go out here doing this. It's always that one buffoon that thinks he has everything figured out, and he wants to go out and he wants to, let's find the person, let's do the thing. And she's like, maybe we need to play the background a little bit. So now Ingrid shows up, grabs two dudes with the lasso, her whip, whatever you want to call them. I can't wait to find out more about her powers. And so Stephanya is surprised, and Ingrid says, the targets have been neutralized. And you see Brian Solari and the rest of AlphaCore, Brian Solari, Ingrid, and Braxwell. I don't think so. Stephanya Martinez, you are under arrest. Don't worry about Yaira. We'll take care of her. Yo, this is crazy. It's a lot going on. So now you see there's another scene. We open up with our three villains of the book, Yanessa, Yantoni, and Magus Numite. And it seems like they're in some kind of ice encapsulation. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. So Yanessa says, curse that vile, disgusting miscreant Yaira. I was going to show mercy, but now I'm going to make sure she is humiliated so widely that every one of her dissidents will be outcasts of all society. So now she has a vendetta. Yaira has just taken things to the next level, and she has now ticked off Yanessa. And I have a feeling she is not the one you really want to tick off. So now looks like Yantoni's responding, and he says, Yanessa, I mean no disrespect, but I feel we should return home even temporarily to recover. So he's like, yo, maybe we need to return, but Yaira's done a number. And Yanessa, I don't think she's trying to go nowhere. And he says, I'm not going to retreat from her, Yantoni. I can't. So she is not trying to leave. She does not want to retreat at all. And it's not that it's not the right decision. Right now, I think Yaira has struck at her pride. So she's like, nah, we not going nowhere. We staying right here. We taking her in. So now you see a scene where Yantoni, it looks like he's trying to talk some sense into Yanessa, and he says, I do not see this as a retreat, my queen, but rather as a strong strategy from a leader who is going to be the one to bring Yaira to true justice. I can see it now. Yanessa, the great hero, the harbinger of justice. So he's trying to sell it to her. But yeah, Yanessa, she not having it. She pissed. She is pissed and she's not having it. She says, I can see it too. Finally, recognition for my great work. Yes, exactly. So he's talking some sense into her. So Magus says, if you don't mind, I think I will continue the pursuit if that suits Yanessa. So he's like, I think I'm going to stay here while you guys go, if you don't mind. Yo, this dude is menacing. And I like when he, changes form into like this. When you see him change into like an insect, I don't know what insect he was modeled after. It kind of looks like a mix of a bunch of different things. But then he has this cloak. I like this. I like him as a villain. I really like him. And so Yanessa says, you may continue with the mission. Execute however you deem fit. We'll be back for Yaira. Rightly so. Out of curiosity, what are you planning, Magus Numite? A death blow. Once they find my target. So he is playing for keeps. And I think we'll leave off right there today. I think that's a good place to leave. But I think I'm going to have to do a bunch of videos to get through Yaira #1, because you don't understand. Like, when I tell you these books, Yaira could have been probably 4 comic books, like easily. I'm not even joking. Could have easily been 4 comic books all wrapped up in one. That's why, I don't know how they're getting comic books out at this pace. I'm going to keep it real with you. How they're getting these books out is beyond me, but I love Yaira, and that's video #2 down. Let's see how many we get out of this book.